After last week's gut punch of an episode, we once again have a new episode of Daredevil Born Again, where we see both Matt and Kingpin get tested in ways that we haven't seen them get tested before. So much that they might have to return to their older ways, with an appearance of a special guest that we might just love. So let's talk about it. There will be spoilers ahead, so come back after you have watched it.
Now for our next one.
No.
This week we see Matt investigate the murder of Hector Ayala, and he tries to find out who the killer is. Vanessa and Kingpin also go to their counseling sessions with Heather, and Vanessa explains why she had an affair. Heather also wonders whether Vanessa is in a toxic relationship, and Blake accidentally leaks information about Fisk being a union buster to BB Uric, and that will bite him in the arse later on. Matt then represents Leroy Bradford after he got caught allegedly stealing some dessert from a store, and he also has a criminal record. Matt tries his best to get him probation using his unlimited riz, but the best he can do is 10 days. Leroy also talks about how he can't afford to eat food and how the government won't give him the free food tokens, but they can afford him to throw him in jail. Fisk then goes about his merely day-to-day activities, such as planning on building an apartment, listening to god-awful children singing in a school, only to then go to an event for Latvian Heritage Day and then hear the same song in Latvian. Then he finds out about the leak Blake had said and starts crashing out. Blake then admits to his wrongdoings and Fisk admires this, so he doesn't fire him. Matt then investigates the scene of Ayala's death and finds a bullet casing with the Punisher logo on it. So he then goes to meet our good old friend Frank Castle, and the two have this really powerful scene where they talk about whether or not their vigilante escapades have actually brought about change. And Frank also mentions Foggy, and Matt feels so guilty about his death. The episode then ends showing us that both Matt and Fisk have gone back to their old ways, with Matt training with his nunchucks and Fisk having kidnapped the man who Vanessa had an affair with. Then we see the Muse's first victim in the show so far. This episode can perfectly be described by Kingpin himself.
Just wonderful.
This was just so good, and this show is a prime example of what happens when the studios actually listens to the fans and the actors playing the roles, and we get masterpieces like this. Because earlier today there was a report that John Bernthal, the one who plays Punisher, actually rejected being in the original draft of the show because it didn't feel like something his character would do, and this was a million times better than anything that we thought would happen between the two. Like, the writing in this episode was so good, and it felt like the type of stuff we would see in the Infinity Saga. And I'm not just talking about the scene with Frank and Matt, but also that scene with Leroy. He put so much emotion in that performance that you can feel the weight of the social injustice behind him, and the responsibility that Matt feels to fix this. And recently, Marvel have sort of learnt their lessons with the Disney Plus shows, and have had really good episodes of television in their past few shows, and honestly, I'm not complaining. Now, there isn't many things to talk about this because I could go on for hours talking about how this episode was perfect, but I am very excited to see what comes next, because we will see Daredevil suit up in the coming episodes, and I'm so excited for it because I want to know who killed the White Tiger. And so this episode gets an 8 out of 10. Subscribe and comment below your thoughts.